Good morning, beautiful souls. So today I'm going to start to make a few videos for the next upcoming week, as this week I'm sent off to do our Father's will as always, and therefore I have back-to-back days seeing a whole bunch of people that's filling me up from morning till night. So I'm not sure when I will be able to get in the lessons of the day, and that's why I'm going to be extending them here for all of us to share in, and then we can continue to apply them each and every day. And so, with that being said, today's lesson is lesson 307, and it is conflicting wishes cannot be my will. Conflicting wishes cannot be my will. So we are recognizing here that our will is whole. It cannot be conflicting. To have a conflicting will means that we partially want things of this world and we partially want God's will. We can't ever have anything that is conflicting, otherwise we will never know that we share one will with God. And so I feel in this lesson today that we are going to allow ourselves to let go of everything that is conflicting within our mind and within our being, that we may come to this place of openness and certainty where God's will is, and fully accept this beaming infinite well of consciousness that is in our mind, and recognize that God is the source of all things. And when we accept our will as being one with His, we truly do rest in the experience of pure happiness and pure joy in the kingdom of heaven that is always here now, waiting for us to accept and receive as our own. So this is a good one to carry in our mind throughout the day. Conflicting wishes cannot be my will. So let's see what Jesus has as a continuation of this here. It begins with a prayer today. So here we go. Father, your will is mine, and only that. There is no other will for me to have. Let me not try to make another will, for it is senseless and will cause me pain. Your will alone can bring me happiness, and only yours exists. If I would have what only you can give, I must accept your will for me and enter into peace where conflict is impossible. Your Son is one with you in being and in will, and nothing contradicts the holy truth that I remain as you created me. This is one of, I feel, Jesus' strongest messages ever, 2,000 years ago and still today, that our will is one with God's. Father, your will is mine and only that. But this is not something that can be intellectualized. This is not something that can be read. This is not something that can be told to us by others. This is something that indeed must be experienced within our own minds. But first and foremost, in order for us to have the courage to say, yes, I accept my will as one with yours, Father God, we must realize that there is no other will that we could possibly have, and that there is no other thing that would bring us happiness in all the world. And so oftentimes we take ourselves into deep conflict in order to recognize that we no longer want this conflict, but that we want the peace of God instead. And to recognize that it truly is a black and white choice. There is no gray area here. Either I'm following along with my own separate will, which brings me to pain, or I'm following along with the will of God that brings me continual joy and ever increasing creation. And so we realize here that your will alone can bring me happiness, and only yours exists. And to the ego, human conditioned mind, this doesn't make sense. For when we look upon the world through the physical senses, it very much appears to be real. But when we look a little bit deeper than what the physical eyes show us to be, we see it as a conglomeration of energy. It's a whole bunch of atoms and cells and molecules. And therefore, when we look at it into the deepest sense of the science with which brings it about, it must be coming about from an intelligence that is greater than ourselves. All of this is put together by a miraculous design that can only ever have been brought forward here from our infinite Creator God. And so we realize that there really isn't anything that is separate from God's will, for all of this world and all of the earth is included in God's will. But it is us who has the choice to put a different lens before our eyes to look upon a world that seems to be separate from God, or to allow that lens to lift, where we look through the eyes of God, through the eyes of Christ, which shows us that there is only one source, that there is only one self, that there is only one will, and it is this will we share with God. So we're allowing ourselves to take the blinders off so we can accept this for ourselves. And it'll continue here by saying, if I would have what only you can give, I must accept your will for me and enter into peace where conflict is impossible. So if we would have only what our Father God would give us, which is perfect peace, joy, understanding, bliss, then we must accept his will for ourselves. And when we accept his will for ourselves, we enter into peace where conflict is impossible. There is no longer conflicting wishes, there is no longer conflicting goals, there's no longer conflicting attitudes, there's no longer conflicting emotions or experiences here, because we've accepted the will of God, which is pure peace. And so your son, me, you, your son is one with you in being and in will. Our true being is one with God. Our being and our will is one with him. And nothing contradicts the holy truth that I remain as you created me. Period. We say God is, and therefore cease to speak. God is. And in God being, so are we, for we are an extension of him. And so there's nothing that contradicts this statement, I am as God created me. And in the wholeness of this statement, we know our own wholeness and can bring the world to this wholeness, can bring the world to heaven, which is a whole state of being with no opposite. And so this is truly here for us to open to and experience that there's no conflicting wishes. So that when we go throughout our day and we find ourselves in conflict, we find ourselves asking all these questions. We're uncertain, not sure what our next step is, not sure where to go. The only thing we can do is literally be quiet. Just don't say anything. God already knows what you need before you ask of it. So just be still. Be still in the presence of our inner world and know that God is there. For God is being. God is will. And therefore, when we turn within to commune with this being and with this will, we will have an experience that we are one. That will carry us out of all conflict. That will carry us out of all doubt. So we can't turn to anyone or anything or any book or any religion to try and find this answer. All of those books and religions and teachers are pointing us back in to experience it there. So this is a true testament as to where our mind's at. If we're conflicting in doubt and in fear, we have forgotten that we share one will with God. The only way to remember that is to turn within and to ask for that experience, to call upon that experience. And that will be given us to experience that we may know that we are one. This is the only thing we really want. All conflicting wishes will vanish from here. And so here is our last sentence to complete our beautiful lesson for today. That's what I just said. And with this prayer, we enter silently into a state where conflict cannot come, because we join our holy will with God's in recognition that they are the same. Yes. So let's let this prayer today be our anchor into stillness, that we may read it, close our eyes, sit with it, and contemplate these ideas. If my will is one with God's, what does that mean about me? If my will is one with God's, what does that mean about me? And when we take this prayer and enter into silence, we will enter into that state where conflict is impossible. And this is what I will for you to experience today. And in the power of our joint decision, so it is. So it is. So I say that all of us turn away from the computer and turn away from the book. Read this lesson, this prayer one last time. Close our eyes, retreat within, and find God there. Go, do it. I'll do it with you. Conflicting wishes cannot be my will. And so we turn within and experience that this is so today. Enjoy this lesson, beautiful souls. It's here to be experienced. I love you all. Mwah.